is up, my loves? Welcome back to my channel. I am back with another freaking video. As you guys can tell by the title, we're going to be talking about all the books I read in July. So let's just get right into it. I would like to start off by saying I had an awesome reading month this month. I was, however, very picky with my ratings, and you guys will see as we go into the video, but I feel like I had a really good reading month. I have most of the books that I read this month here. This is not all of them. I read the other ones on my Kindle. I got a Kindle last month, and y'all, I love it so much. So I read I think 5 books on my Kindle, and these are the ones that I read, like physically read the book. So let's talk stats really quick. I just started doing stats on my book. I saw another booktuber do this, and I was like, that is kind of cool, because I kind of want to keep up with, you know, like month to month. I want to keep up. I want the numbers. Like by the end of the year, I want to be able to go back and see like what I read, like by month basically. So let's talk stats. Okay, so this month I read 11 books. So like I said, a really good reading month. I think my goal was 15, so I ended up hitting 11. And y'all, we moved this month, so me reading 11 books and going through a move, I feel like that's really good. But anyways, okay, so I read 11 books. I read 4 fantasy books, 3 rom-coms, 1 mystery, 2 adult fiction, and 1 dark romance. And then my average July rating was roughly a 3.2. So that brings me to my ratings for this month, and just kind of going over all the books I read, because like I said, I was very picky with my ratings this month. I don't think I really had any like whole number ratings. Like a lot of them were like 0.5s, 0.75s, 0.25s, because I was just very picky. But anyways, enough rambling. Let's just get into the video. My dog is right here, y'all, so if y'all hear her in the background, please do not mind her. But anyways, let's get into the ratings. So I'm gonna kind of start, I have my notes here, but I'm gonna kind of start as the stack is right here, so they're kind of already in some type of order. So the first book that I'm going to talk about that I read this month is a fantasy book. It is The Kingdom of the Wicked, and I actually read this whole series this month, and it's a trilogy. So this is book 1, and I gave this book a 3.75. For fantasy, I think this is a very interesting read. I feel like all of my reads this month were very interesting, very entertaining. I really enjoyed this book. It was an enemies to lovers trope, and I liked the underlying plot in this book. It was more so of a murder mystery going on here. So everything I'm about to tell you is in a synopsis. So this is about Amelia. I said her name wrong in the last video, but the main character's name is Amelia, and she is a witch basically, and her twin sister gets murdered, and she's trying to figure out what happened to her sister. So in the process, she meets this guy named Wrath, and he is one of the princes of hell. So he's one of the 7 princes of hell, and they meet and they have this amazing banter, and they are potentially solving her sister's murder. But as they're finding things out, they're also kind of like, you know, building a bond and kind of like growing to like each other. And my initial thoughts was I liked that it was a fast start. It wasn't too much world building. It wasn't a lot of background information. You kind of learn as you go, which kind of made it easier to get into this book. Because I mean, as soon as you start, we're jumping into the storyline. Everything important kind of happens within the first 5 chapters, and that makes it really easy just to get into it and get started with everything. It is a slow burn. I am a sucker for slow burns. I love just reading about banter and like really feeling the chemistry between characters. I feel like you can really understand their bond and their chemistry when it takes them a while to actually admit their feelings. And let me tell you, we don't get satisfied from the first book. Let me just tell you that now. You will not get satisfied with the first book. Their banter, I did like their banter. I liked that they were actually enemies. So overall this was just like really entertaining. I'm trying to say as much as I remember it. This was like one of the first books I read last month, so it's really hard for me to remember exactly what I was thinking in the moment, which is why I took these notes, because I knew I would kind of forget. But yeah, so overall this was like really entertaining and I really enjoyed reading this. Normally when I read series I try to break them up. I don't like to read them back to back, but literally the cliffhanger that this left on, I was like, okay, I have to read the second book. And so that gets us into our next book that I'm going to talk about, which is Kingdom of the Cursed. All right, this is the second book in the trilogy and I gave this book a 4.25. This is my favorite book out of the trilogy. We get a little bit more of Amelia and Wrath, and the setting in this book changes drastically versus the setting in the first book. And I think we have pretty much one setting throughout this whole book, which is really nice. And we get a lot more of Amelia and Wrath. Still a really slow burn in this book with the main characters, but we get a little bit more, and their feelings are evolving a little bit. The chemistry is there, the banter is there. I do like the fact that, like I said, this is very fast paced as well, and it's a lot going on. Like, she's going to feed you so much information in this book. She's going to give you a lot's going to happen. It's always going to keep you engaged, because I feel like there's a lot of action in here. Like, a lot of things go on, and she's very descriptive with the action scenes in the book, which is I really enjoy, because I literally know, like, some of the scenes I was reading in this book, my heart was kind of beating fast, because I'm just like, okay, like what's going on, what's about to happen. So like, this was really good. And let me tell you, Wrath, y'all, if you know, you know. Like, Wrath is like, he is probably top 5 book boyfriend material. Like, he is book 1 a 3.75, book 2 a 4.25, and then book 3 I read on my Kindle, so I don't physically have it, but I rated it. It's called Kingdom of the Feared, and I gave it a 3.75. That one was kind of just equal to the first one. Like I said, the second one was my absolute favorite, so the first and last one were kind of just like an entertaining read. There is a lot happening in book 3. The shock that book 3 gave me was crazy. Her sister's murder isn't just solved from book 1, like, it's all the way through the whole trilogy, and I was kind of like really surprised at the plot twist and all things that were revealed in book 3, and we get a lot more of Amelia and Wrath, which I love. But yeah, so book 3, those were just my initial thoughts, that there was a lot going on, but it was very interesting and it was a lot of plot twists. So I gave book 3 a 3.75. So let's move on. I don't want to talk about another fantasy, so we're gonna skip this. I'm gonna come back to this. Let's talk about Part of Your World by Abby Jimenez. I did read this on my Kindle, so I didn't read the physical book, but I had the book, so why not? So let's find it. Part of Your World, I rated this 3.75, and this book is basically about I forgot her name already, y'all. I'm so bad with names. Okay, Alexis. So this is about a girl named Alexis. She meets this guy named Daniel, and she ends up being about 10 years older than he is, and she's like, of course, she's 10 years older than him, so she's a little bit more established than he is, and she's a doctor, and he works in a small town, and her parents, she comes from wealth, so her parents are wealthy, and they just have this whole plan for her life, and she's not happy with it, and she doesn't want to disappoint her parents, but she also wants to be happy, and she knows that her happy place is Daniel in his small town, but she doesn't want to disappoint her parents again. And so it's a lot of other things that go in this book that you guys will read about. I don't want to give too much away, but everything I just said is in the synopsis. This was such a fun read, y'all. This was so fun to read. Like, there is kind of like a found family in this book, and I love all the friendships and all the relationships in this book. All of the mentioned characters, we just fall in love with all of the characters. I know a lot of side characters in books we kind of really just don't really care about, but in this book all of the side characters are amazing. I love, this is more like a small town slash big, it's like small town versus big city, and the small town it gives you life. Like everybody in the town, the way that the town is described, the people in the town that are described, like everything is just, it was just really fun to read about. And then the chemistry between the main characters was A+. Like they had amazing chemistry, and it was just a really fun, really cute romance, and I loved it. I enjoyed it. And I really enjoyed this book, y'all. So this was a 3.75. So my goal for this month was just a really fun, entertaining, like romance, cheesy reads, and this gave me exactly that. So it was, like I said, really fun. I really enjoyed this one. I found myself laughing and smiling throughout this whole book. Like this book pulled a lot of happy emotions out of me. My happy hormones were working. We're gonna move on to probably my favorite read of the month. This is Better Than the Movies by Lynn Painter. I rated this book a 5-star. Okay, this was a 5-star read. When I tell you, Lynn Painter is quickly becoming one of my favorite authors. This is the second book I've read by her, and I am just in love with her writing. I just, like, give me more Lynn Painter. Like, I want to read every single book by her, every other book that she comes out with, because why was this so good? Okay, this is about Liz and Wes. So Liz and Wes are next door neighbors. They've been neighbors their entire life. They are like rivals, right? They're rivals, right? They've been rivals since they were little. Wes always picked on her when she was little, and he still picks on her now in high school. Liz had a crush on another neighbor named Michael, but he moved away. So happens he moves back, and Michael and Wesley are close. Like they picked up where they left off. Like no time passed. Like they're close. Liz wants Michael, so she uses Wes to get to Michael, basically. So in the process, though, she finds out that Michael isn't the one that she wants. Okay, I'm just going to stop right there. And this is, like, just read the book. I'm telling you, this will not disappoint, okay? This rom-com is literally about rom-coms, and that's all I'm going to say. Like, it's so fun. It's so light. It's so fluffy. It was very funny. The banter was just A+. Like, if I can give it like a triple A+ or something like that, I would. Like, I really would. Like, the banter in this book was amazing. Their chemistry was amazing. I have so many quotes from this book. I wrote all in this book. Like, let me just, my favorite poem. Let me see if I can find my favorite. Right here, found it. Okay. My favorite quote in this book was, Wes said, "Mind if I read over your shoulder? I'm bored." Oh my gosh. Y'all. What? Yes, you can read over my shoulder. Like, please. Like, what? Anyways, I'm sorry, but this is a 5-star read. Like, this is a really great book. This is one of my favorites. That's all I'm gonna say, because I could literally talk about this book all day. I really enjoyed reading this book. It was so fun, and that was the goal for this month, to read fun books. That was the goal, and I accomplished it. I want to talk about this book last, okay? So we're gonna just skip it. Okay, so this is one of the first books I read this month, so excuse me if I don't remember everything about this book, okay? But this was Good Girl Complex by Elle Kennedy. I gave this a, where'd it go? I gave this a 3 out of 5 stars. She writes like books that just keep you engaged, and they're just like really entertaining to read, and they don't pull too many emotions out of you, but they do have you coming back for more. So I guess this is 3 stars. My initial thoughts were it was a lot of drama, and it was fast paced, and that is kind of what kept me entertained the whole time. It was very fast paced. We got right into the plot, which I love. We maybe had like a couple, maybe 2 or 3 chapters of background, but after that we were on go. Like, the plot was we were there, and it was lots of drama. A lot of drama. It was very interesting to read. So the main character name is Mackenzie, which is why I was so excited to read this book, because that is my name. And she meets, I always forget his name. What is his name? Cooper. Okay, she meets Cooper, and it's basically like a college romance, and it's, like I said, very dramatic and very fun to read. So I gave this 3 stars. The next book that I want to talk about is The Perfect Couple by Ellen Hilderbrand. I hope I'm saying her name right. I don't know if I am, but if I didn't say it right, I'm sorry. Okay, so The Perfect Couple. Okay, this is a wedding whodunit, and it was very, very fun to read. I keep saying that, but like that was literally the mood for the month, was just fun reads, and this was that. I gave this one a 3-star as well. Like I said, it didn't pull too many emotions out of me. It just kept me engaged, and it was very entertaining to read. My initial thoughts were, okay, so one of the reasons why I gave it a 3 stars though is because it was third person, and I read another third person book this month and it didn't really bother me that much, but I don't know, reading third person just, I don't know, I like to be in the characters' heads. I like to know what they're thinking. Like, I want to feel their emotions, and I think it's very hard. It's not hard to do it because I know a lot of authors can do it. I think she did a very good job at keeping us like in the loop with the character, but I just, third person automatically just kind of bumps you down a little bit. I don't know, like, but yeah, it did keep me engaged. Like I said, it was a lot of suspects, so literally like everybody that she introduces in this book, you're kind of like, did you do it? Like, you're kind of coming up with like different formulations in your head. I have so many different pages where I wrote out like who I thought did it and how I thought they did it. Like, I'm literally trying to solve this murder while reading this book, and I did not solve the murder. I did like get it when we started revealing different things, but I feel like it was too late for me like to have guessed it. Like, I feel like we knew enough to know like who committed the murder, right? And then also the ending kind of just rubbed me the wrong way. Like, great read, very entertaining, but the ending I was just like, okay, like we did all of that for what? But anyways, yes, 3 stars, The Perfect Couple. Next, this is not the last book I'm going to talk about, but I'm just going to go on and talk about it. ACOTAR, A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J Maas. I rated this 4.75. Okay, I told y'all I was very picky this month, and I rated this a 4.75 because I have heard from so many people that the second book is the best book. So I am saving my 5-star rating. Okay, this could have been a 5 stars. I know I'm probably not being fair, but I'm waiting because I just bought the second book and it's going to be on my August TBR. I'm going to make sure of it, and I'm waiting to give that 5 stars to the second book. So I really hope it doesn't disappoint. Like, I hope that it's actually the best book and that I actually enjoy it and give it the 5 stars. Okay, so this is a fantasy book, as everyone knows. It follows Feyre. Feyre is kind of a huntress. Not going to get too much into that, but she kills a wolf in the woods and it ends up being a fae, okay? And she has to pay her debt for killing the wolf, and she is taken back to the Fae world where she is living with Tamlin, okay? Her and Tamlin end up having feelings for each other, and we get this chemistry build up and we get this banter because they're enemies. Because they start off as enemies, and because Feyre is human and Tamlin is Fae. I didn't say that, but yeah, like, they're enemies, and we get this like chemistry build up. It's a slow burn. It's very interesting. It was one of the things I was gonna say. Oh, and this is a kind of sort of like a Beauty and the Beast retelling, and you kind of get that Beauty and the Beast feel like midway, and you're like, oh my gosh, I love this so much, because like this literally kind of like my childhood with a little extra sauce on it, I guess you could say. So yeah, this is a very interesting read. Let me tell you though, from page 1 to however many pages is in the back of this book, from this side of the book to this side of the book, a lot happens. Let me just warn you now, a lot happens. The setting change is drastic. Also, the whiplash that you'll get reading this book is tremendous. I think this is probably one of my favorite fantasies ever because it's just very fun. I do want to read all of Sarah J Maas's books, and it's going to take me a while to get there. So this is only the first one. I have a long way to go. But yes, this is ACOTAR by Sarah J Maas. 4.75 stars. Okay, so let's talk about the books that I read on my Kindle this month, because I don't physically have these books. So let's talk about them. So I read one dark romance this month. I read Hooked by Emily McIntyre, and I don't think that she will ever see this video or ever hear me talk about this book. But if she does ever see this video or hear me talk about this book anywhere, somewhere, I don't know, let me just tell you now, Emily, it is not you. I promise you it's me, okay? And I'm going to explain everything in just a second. So I rated this book a 1 out of 5 stars, okay? Okay, so basically it is a Peter Pan retelling. Okay, it's about Peter, and then in this book Wendy is his daughter, and then it's about Hook. Okay, Peter's actually, I guess, like the antagonist in this book. And that's all I'm gonna say. So I'm gonna say this on the book up. Okay, I watched one video about this book, heard it was a Peter Pan retelling. Okay, that's all I needed to hear, and I went instantly to Kindle, and I went instantly on my Kindle and downloaded the book and started reading it. Didn't watch any more videos about it, didn't read the synopsis. I went into the book blind. Okay, and that can be good and bad. Okay, I was expecting, I don't know why, I was expecting a fantasy book. I started unknowingly a dark romance. Okay, I am not a dark romance girly. Okay, I am a rom-com girly. I like cute, cheesy, minimum spice books. Okay, the headspace that this book put me in was crazy. Like, I was literally 87% done with this book. I remember it so well. 87% done, because on my Kindle it tells me how far I've gotten, and I was kicking my feet crying because I just wanted to be done with the book. Like, when I tell you, that book is dark and twisted, and I know that was the purpose, but I wasn't expecting it. And I kind of want to go back and reread it, and I'm going to give the rest of the series a chance, because now I know what I'm getting myself into. But I didn't know what I was getting myself into, so this was totally my fault. This 1 star was totally my fault. I will take full responsibility for it. But if you are a dark romance girly, I feel like that's a really good book for you to read. It is very interesting. It's very dramatic, but it was also traumatic for me because I don't like dark romances, and it put me in a really bad headspace. I was just kind of like, I don't know why I did it. Like, I don't know why I was expecting a fantasy book. Like, if I would have just watched more videos, looked at more reviews, I would have understood exactly what I was getting myself into. But I wasn't. I just heard Peter Pan and was like, oh, it's a fantasy book. I've been on a fantasy kick. Let me go read it. It wasn't, y'all. And it was my fault. It was my fault. So I gave Hook the 1 star. But when I thought about it after I finished it, and I knew what kind of book it was and what I had read, it was a really good dark romance book, I will say. Like, it served its purpose for sure. And I'm gonna read the rest of the series, because it's 4 books out right now. I think there's another one coming out soon, or more coming out. But yeah, I just wanted to get it off my chest. I've been waiting to talk about that book all month. I was like, I'm ready for this wrap up. But like, literally, it was my fault. So don't take my rating as, oh, the book is bad. It's not. It's just I'm not a dark romance girly, and I did not know what I was getting myself into. Like, I'm so glad that I got that off my chest. Like, I feel like the weight that I've been carrying all month is just, it's lifted. Okay, this is why I do this. This is why I talk to you guys about this stuff. Like, okay, the next book that I read on my Kindle was The Summer of Broken Rules. I need to put these authors' names on here, literally. The next book that I read on my Kindle was The Summer of Broken Rules by K.L. Walther, and I gave this book a 3.5 stars. Okay, so it's about, I don't remember the characters' names. I don't really think I remember the characters' names. Darn it. Okay, so it's basically about this girl. She just goes through this really bad breakup, and she lost her sister, and she goes to her cousin's wedding, and it kind of just reminds her of her sister, and they play this family game they played all the time. They play this family game in her sister's honor, and she's determined to win. But she meets someone, she meets one of the groomsmen of the wedding, and they instantly hit it off. She kind of gets distracted, but she also is like feeling good that she finally found someone that can like connect with, like she connected with her sister. My initial thoughts were it was very fast paced. I feel like we got right into the romance, we got right into the plot. I am a slow burn girly, but I liked that we got straight into the romance with this book. I feel like it fit the writing and it fit the actual plot of this book, because they're taking you through the week in this book, so like we can't take forever, like, but we get right into the romance, which I love. For this book, it was very cute. I love their relationship, I love their chemistry, and just their bond was just like best friends and lovers. Like, I just love that. It was a very easy read. It was a very quick read. I read this book very fast. It wasn't too deep. Like, we didn't get in too deep into emotions. Like, I know it was a little bit about grief, but it's more of her coming out of her grief, in which I really enjoyed that. So yes, that was a 3.5 3.5 stars, and that was The Summer of Broken Rules. The last book that I'm going to talk about that I read this month, well last month, was The Love Wager by Lynn Painter. I gave this book a 3.25, and this 3.25 is a good 3.25. So it's basically about, okay, I don't remember the main characters' names. I am so horrible at remember characters' names. So it's basically the main characters, they are like basically made this bet, whoever finds love first wins, and they both have different prizes that they would win. So they're out trying to find love when in reality they should be with each other. Okay, that's basically the summary of the book. So my initial thoughts, my first thought was that this book was hilarious. I found myself laughing the whole time. It was the main male character. He was really sweet and funny and charming and goofy, and I loved that. And then I love their chemistry. Their chemistry was amazing, even though they were in denial the whole book. The chemistry between the two, the tension between the two, you could feel it through the book. You could feel it in the book. Like it was great, and it was an easy read. They were such a cute couple. I loved everybody's personalities. We get a lot of weird, quirky characters in the book, and I really love that. Because I find myself to be very like, when I am really passionate about something, I think I get really hyper and just like really excited. Like I feel like I could be quirky at times, so I really love that everybody in this book was just really unique in their own way. Anyways, we talked about all 11 books that I read last month. Stay tuned for my August TBR because it is coming soon. Thank you guys for tuning in. I hope you guys enjoyed listening to me ramble about books. I love to ramble about books. So, and I hope that you guys read some of these books if you haven't read them, and let me know what you think about the books that I did rate if you have read them. Like I like to talk about books with people, so if you have read these books and you don't mind sharing your feelings about the book, leave a comment please, because babes, we will become besties in the comments, literally. So that is all I have for you guys today. I hope to see you guys in the next video. Thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure you like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so that you can notify when I upload more videos, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.